and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Millionaires in Training. My name is David Moses, speaking to you from Tonkawa, Oklahoma, basically somewhere in the mid-United States. I'm just at a presentation. Say hello, everybody. Which just ended, and we have a few people left over. And I was thinking about what should we chat about tonight in terms of this particular call. And I think, why not the power of leverage? How we can build this business, create a residual income, part-time or full-time, maybe even financial independence for those that are moved to do so. And we can do it from anywhere, at any time, because we have leverage working for us. And I think that's appropriate given that I'm at a business presentation right now, and the presentation just ended, and I can actually project this conference call from here all over North America and possibly other parts of the world. Now, Millionaires in Training, if you're a guest online, a special and warm welcome to you. If you're a distributor, welcome to you, of course, one of our business partners. But if you've been invited by a friend, this particular call is a leadership call. It is a call where we discuss the habits, the disciplines, the philosophies, and the skill sets that are required to reach the higher levels of prosperity in our business. Things that we need to do to build our business. If you may have questions about the product, maybe you have questions about the company. That information will be available to you if you're a guest online by the person who invited you to tonight. Wednesdays, we do a call specific to our product line. That particular call is focused with the formulator of the ZJ International products, where he will discuss each and every product with you and make sure that all of your questions are answered regarding product. But tonight's call is generally about the higher concepts required to build high levels of prosperity. People that want to earn a six-figure annual income in our business. And for some here at ZJ International that are a part of our team, people who want to earn a six-figure monthly income. There is a path to do that too, $1 million a year plus income. And so, obviously, to reach those types of levels in terms of prosperity, we need to employ certain concepts surrounding leadership and organizational building, and that's what we discuss. And I think tonight, I'd like to talk about the power of leverage. I'd like to talk about how that can impact you, how that can be life-changing, how that can provide time freedom, how that can give us security, ongoing security, how that can allow us and enable us to do in a 8-hour day what we could accomplish in a month or 6 months or even in some cases a year. Imagine, now think about this for a moment. What if you could create the productivity and the results and the income and the prosperity in 8 hours, that which would take another person a year or even 2 years? Obviously, that would be pretty powerful. The only way to do that is to have leverage working in our lives. Network marketing, network distribution, person-to-person marketing, our business in ZJ International gives us the tools and the model and the path and the training to do just that, exactly that. We can create unlimited leverage because we are building on a foundation of world-class products, number one, the foundation, and we have a system that allows us to help others have prosperity. And in the process of others having prosperity, we can create extreme leverage in our lives. That's what network marketing is all about. So I want to expand on that concept tonight, and hopefully if you're a guest listening for the first time, you will then be able to reflect upon whatever business or job or profession you're in. You know, I used to be a locksmith glazer, basically working with glass and working with locks in a family business. And I worked a 40-hour work week like most people. I got up at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock to be at work for 8, 9 o'clock. I came home at 5, and at the end of a 5-day work week, I got paid based on a 40-hour work week of production. And there's nothing wrong with that, other than the fact that I didn't have any leverage. Therefore, no matter how hard I worked, I could only get paid so much, and I had to recreate my income every Monday morning. I had to go back to work on Monday and work till Friday to get paid again. So there's no leverage, there's no residual income in that. And I suppose that's okay, but did I really want to do that for 40 years and theoretically retire on 40% of my income, which, as we all know, does not happen? And do we have the security of working in one place for 40 years? We know that doesn't happen either. So the concept of leverage was very appealing to me. How does an average guy like me that did not have an education or a profession behind me or a business behind me, how do I create leverage? And that was what network marketing offered in December of 1989 at age 27 when I got started. So how does it work? How does leverage work in Zija International, in our business, in the business of person-to-person marketing or network marketing? Leverage works on one simple concept. The more people that we have that are a part of our team, that are using and consuming our product, and that are having success in the business, the greater our leverage will be. The greater impact we will have on our ability to create an income that compounds, that grows based on the success and prosperity of others. So let me repeat that in another way. Creating success and prosperity in our business of person-to-person marketing is not dependent on what you and I do. It's not dependent on how hard we work. It is dependent on how many other people we can help have success. The more people we help get what they want, as we've all heard, the greater our own prosperity will be. We create leverage by helping others. That is not how the traditional business world works. That's not how people make a living in the real world. But in our business, we become successful by creating successful people, by helping others create success. And let me tell you about that success. It is not necessarily big money. It is not necessarily full-time income. It is not necessarily financial independence. For a lot of people, in fact, for most people, an extra $300 to $500 a month is life-changing for many, many people. We show people how to make an extra $300 to $500 a month, and we have completely transformed their lives. That might pay a mortgage. That might get them into a house. It might do a lot of things. And if you have a lot of people having a little bit of success, then we have a lot of leverage working in our business. So here's another way to explain leverage. Instead of getting paid on a 40-hour work week, we can be getting paid on 40 hours or 400 hours or 1,000 hours of productivity each day. Now, I'm talking to you from a small town in Oklahoma, and presentation here in the small town. I'm heading back to Oklahoma City this evening. There was a room full of people. There's still a couple of people here right now. We have one entrepreneur who's been buying up real estate and creating rental properties. I have another person here who's a real estate agent. We had a doctor here a few minutes ago, a chiropractor. We've got homemakers here. We have other people here in other areas of business and work. Probably some people in farming. I've got one lady here whose family has a business in making wellheads. There's a lot of oil wells here in Oklahoma, and they make the well caps. And the beauty of all of that is that as I stand here, I am able to work with a team here, help them grow as this team grows and starts to develop a part-time or full-time income within ZJ International. I am multiplying the leverage that's happening in my business. And tomorrow we've got presentations all throughout Oklahoma City with a big meeting tomorrow night. By the way, if you know people in and around Oklahoma City or even Kansas, have them drive into tomorrow night's presentation right here. I'll be doing that tomorrow evening in Oklahoma City. I believe it's posted on ZJ Events. So you'll see the location on ZJEvents.com. Now, let's talk about that for a moment. So my organization now is, I don't know, roughly 180,000 plus people. Well, think about it. If you have 180,000 people, and each of them is putting in 1 hour a week, not 1 hour a day, not 5 hours a day, 1 hour a week part-time in their business, on average. Okay? Let me repeat that so we get the numbers right here. 180,000 people doing 1 hour a week. That's 180,000 hours of productivity versus 30 hours that I could do by myself. That's almost 800,000 hours of productivity in a month, rather than 120 hours a month of my, or 160 hours a month of my own personal productivity. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of leverage. And that's what network distribution promises. It gives us the vehicle, it gives us the tools, it gives us the power to create leverage in our lives. You know, it doesn't matter what our experience is, it doesn't matter what our background is, it doesn't matter what we studied in the school, it doesn't matter really what our skill set is. What matters is that we have a vehicle, we have a method that will allow us to create that kind of productivity in business. This is how we get the time freedom. See, because the beauty of what we do is we do the work one time, and we get paid for the rest of our lives on that work that we do. In other words, I introduce a customer, I introduce a person to the ZJ product line or to the ZJ business, and they continue to order that product and reorder that product and do it over and over again. And I will be paid for that introduction for as long as they order that product, for as many months or as many years as they continue to order that product. And even better, we will get paid for all the people they introduce and the people they introduce and the people they introduce, even if it's in a small town in the middle of Oklahoma. It doesn't matter. It could be in another country anywhere in the world. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of leverage. And that is what most people do not have in their lives, and it is why most of us, including myself, at one time or another, worked for a living in a traditional form of employment where we got paid on a 40-hour work week. Now, let me be very clear. There is absolutely nothing wrong with doing a 40-hour work week. If I had to do that in life, I would do whatever I have to do, as all of us would, to support our families and to make a living. But if I knew that there was a better vehicle, there was a better business model that I could would start up with little or no risk, with no overhead, no employees, no receivables, no payables, and I could actually start building a part-time and then a full-time income, and then a residual income that would be far superior than the traditional line of work that I've been accustomed to, and that all of us have been. And I was thinking about that tonight as I was doing this presentation. I was saying, I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning because the flight was at 6 a.m. So by the time I had a shower and drove to the airport, I got to the airport for 4 o'clock, got on a 6 o'clock flight. It is now 9 o'clock here, or almost 9 o'clock here in Oklahoma. So this has been roughly an 18-hour day. By the time I get back to Oklahoma City, that's 20 hours. Okay, there's not a lot of leverage here tonight. But that's okay. My point is, okay, so today I had to work a little bit harder. There was a little bit of travel involved. But the point is, I was thinking, I can do the conference call right after the presentation here in Oklahoma and speak to the rest of our team, the rest of our organization, and other parts of Canada, the United States, and so forth. And again, multiply that leverage. And so I thought tonight would be an appropriate call to speak of leverage, because the picture that you have with me on a speakerphone in a meeting room outside of my home office presents the clearest possible picture of what that can look like. People here in this town were asking me tonight, how do we build our business and have it go beyond Oklahoma, beyond where we live? How do we build into other states, on the West Coast, on the East Coast? How do we grow our business and introduce others in Canada and other parts of the world? And I said, think about it for a minute. I'm from Toronto, Canada. And I spoke to a friend in Toronto about 5 years ago. And that friend, Dave, he spoke to another guy that he knew out in Alberta, the west coast of Canada. And that friend, that guy out in Alberta, he happened to know this lady that lived in Oklahoma. That lady in Oklahoma is sitting in this room tonight, and she knew a couple of people. And now we've got a room packed here, we've got a room packed tomorrow night, we've got a room packed at a few other locations. Because I spoke to someone in Toronto 5 years ago, and the business continues to grow. And so I want you to think about, if you're on the line tonight, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what your rank is, what your position is, where you are in Zija, and especially if you're a guest tonight, if you're listening for the first time, I want you to understand that when you've got a company with a world-class product line that speaks to almost every person on the planet, there's something for everybody, and in particular, our weight loss products. And when you have a training system and a process that you can employ and then teach others and show others, it doesn't matter where you are or what your skill set is. It doesn't matter if you're in a small town or big city, rural area, doesn't matter. None of that matters. All that matters is you take the first steps, you take a few of the action steps, and sooner or later, and probably sooner for most if you're consistent, you're gonna speak to someone who's going to open up a door for you, and it's going to lead you to other parts of the country, other parts of the world, in other countries, to people that are going to cause you to have a successful business. And it just might lead you to somebody who grabs a hold of this business and takes it to an entirely new level. And all of a sudden, you've got a business providing a full-time income, personal security, time freedom, and or even financial independence. Right? So it all happens by by taking the action step. We really don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who we're going to meet. If you would have told me at any time, I didn't even know this town existed until today. Had no idea. Until I got driven here from Oklahoma City. When I woke up this morning in Toronto at 3 o'clock in the morning, got in the shower, and then drove to the airport, I had no idea that I would be standing in, right now, as we speak, standing in an old train station. And you know the ones that we see in the old Western movies? I'm standing in an old train station right now. It's about 140 years old. 140 years old. There's old typewriters. I'm actually going to I'm going to take pictures of some of the typewriters that are you see. And the young people here, if there's any young people on the line tonight, if you've been born in the last 20 years, you're not even going to know what these things are when I post them on Facebook tonight. You're going to look at them and go, what's that? Right? Because, of course, we didn't have typewriters in the last 20 years. These are for the old folks. So I'm standing, if you would have told me that I'd be standing in this train station speaking to new people to grow my business just a few hours ago, it wouldn't even have been a concept. Wouldn't have been a thought. I couldn't have imagined it in my wildest dreams. What I'm trying to point out to you, if you're on the line listening and thinking about, could this work for me? Is this a business that I could do? Could I create a part-time income? Could I create a full-time income? The answer is absolutely, because the process for you will be the same as it has been for me. You wake up tomorrow morning not really knowing what your next step is going to bring, and you'll pick up the phone or you'll invite somebody or you'll do something, and the person might be negative, they might be skeptical, or they might be someone who says, you know, you called me at the perfect time. And that person might know somebody in a small town in the middle of Oklahoma or somewhere, and your business starts to grow, and one day you find yourself doing a presentation in a 140-year-old train station, right? So you don't know how it's going to manifest. You don't know where it's going to come from. Here's what I can promise you. I can absolutely promise you it will happen. It's just a matter of how it will happen. And all that's required is you take the first steps. What are the first steps? You get back with the person who invited you tonight. You get your questions answered about the Zija products, about the Zija business. There's a video on Facebook, on my Facebook page, that in 13 minutes will give you a succinct presentation of the entire Zija business and Zija product line. You watch the Discovery Channel documentary and you find out all about the product. You listen to the comp plan or watch the comp plan on video. You get started in the business and you invite a couple of other people to come and take a look. And once you've done that, you will set wheels in motion. You will allow the universe to manifest prosperity for you. The universe, and or if you wish, the Creator, can only give us prosperity if we take the action steps. If we do the action steps. Sometimes it happens quickly, sometimes it happens slowly, but I guarantee you this, I promise you this, it will always happen so long as we are doing the do things on a consistent basis. And I'll close with this, this is one of the last places that I needed to be. I could be at home. It's the last week before Labor Day weekend, before the kids go back to school. Next week we had a big party at my house. I posted that on Facebook. We had family. We did a whole bunch of things. In Zija, we call that Life Unlimited. And today, I said I'm just going to go the extra mile. I'm going to do what I've got to do to advance my business by helping others. So I came out to do a number of presentations here. And one of those presentations led to this town. And we're heading back to Oklahoma City tonight to do presentations presentations all day tomorrow with a big meeting culminating tomorrow night. And I'm on the conference calls this evening doing this presentation / training. And your business is going to start in a similar fashion but on a smaller scale. You're going to invite a new person. You're going to do a long presentation. The person who invited you tonight is going to help you. Why? Because it is in their interest to help you. And if it's not the person who invited you, it'll be their sponsor, their upline. You can always plug into these calls. We have these calls each and every Monday. There'll be a business presentation call tomorrow. And yes, there'll be the product call on Wednesday with the formulator of the Zeta products, Mr. Russ Bianchi. So please join us for that. Our goal is to help you achieve whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams, goals, and aspirations are. Write them down, and we will help you manifest those into reality. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Millionaires in Training. I wish everybody continued success and prosperity. Look on Facebook for the pictures of the 140-year-old train station where Millionaires in Training was projected from tonight. Have a great evening, everybody.
Want to see you last week from Home, Georgia? Thank you. There you go. I'm pretty good. I'm Illinois. Thank you. And from Shirley, from Washington. Hey, we're here in Atlanta, Georgia.